speed it up. Get the
Hillking's
energy up.
podcast.
Let's get the energy up, bitch. It's the end of the year. How are you feeling about resolutions? Drinking beers?
Feeling
It's been a
resolute.
long years.
Feeling.
I'm in a
It has
different
been
room.
years.
Changed my shit around again.
Uh-huh.
I can't seem to get it right, can I? Wow.
Pretty good.
Wow, thanks, man.
Yeah,
it's been a year. It's been a season.
Uh-huh.
'Tis the season, really. Wow.
It's almost Boxing Day for you. Isn't that
Almost.
right?
No, it's after Boxing Day. It's New
Oh, is it?
Year's. This is the New Year's song, Chris. This episode comes out right before New Year's Eve. Okay? Acquaintance be forgot
I never
and
understood that.
never gone to mind. Should all acquaintance be forgot and Hill King's time? Let's get into it.
Yeah,
Season finale, bitch. How you feeling about it? Episode 12. We did a whole fucking season of a TV show, man.
Dude, it was good.
I think we're famous.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all the nephews and the uncles.
All of our uncles out there. All of our dunkles and our skunkles.
The funkles.
All 7 of y'all motherfuckers.
Drunkles.
Yep. And we're here. We showed up for the recording, even though things were thrown for a loop a little bit. And that's all I'll say about that.
2023 is the year of the loop throws.
It's the year of the loop throws. It's the year of the Hill Kings, really. That's what everyone's been saying. Everyone's been talking about it.
The people have.
You know? This is, of course, as you know, because we've released a dozen of these bitches at this point. A whole egg carton's worth. No, Baker's dozen will be next week when we do our little bonus episode season recap. Keep an eye on the feed. Don't think that just because we're done season 1 that we're gonna fucking stop releasing this shit.
No.
Because we're gonna do more, and then we're gonna do there's a season 2 coming.
No, we're gonna peter out around season 7, folks. If you think we're making it all the way to 13,
I never said I would do all 13.
I didn't say that either.
I never
Where
said
are your
that.
pants?
Any hoodles. This is, of course, the Hill Kings podcast. It's a podcast where me and this guy over here, this little son of a bitch, talk about the 90s animated sitcom King of the Hill. And we're here today to talk about season 1, the season finale, episode 12, Plastic White Female. But before we do that shit, we like to do a little thing on this show that we like to call This Week in Arlen.
This Week in Arlen.
Okay. We're here for it. This episode aired on May 11th, 1997. Sunday night. You know that we like to start with a little glimpse at the TV guide. Once again, the TV Tango website was broken, so I had to use this janky ass screenshot.
Yeah.
What do we got here, man?
Well,
what do you see?
Go ahead and tell us about the Simpsons, because I know you got a Simpsons take here.
Yeah, we got a slide for it, actually. If you want to go to slide 3, listeners, go ahead and follow along at home.
Yeah.
The Simpsons Family Smile Time Variety Hour. A lot of people say that this should have been the series finale. It was essentially the joke to the episode was like everything here is so played out and there's not really much that we can do with this story, so let's make a joke where it just becomes a variety hour and there's like little spin-off episodes of side characters and they replace Lisa with like a hotter version of Lisa. It's a funny episode and I think actually would have been a good way to end the series, but of course they went on to do like 30 more seasons than that. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm noticing on this cover art, it's kind of reminded me a whole lot of the end of the title sequence of Family Guy.
Yeah, this was pre-Family Guy though.
Yeah, I
I
know.
think that was just kind of like a trope. I think the
Big show,
variety
Vegas.
hours. There was I think maybe like the Brady Bunch did one that was similar. There, it's definitely like they're parodying something.
Yeah.
It was a parody.
A parod.
There's definitely some sort of
Parody.
paradoxical situation. But yeah, that was The Simpsons. Anything else on here stand out to you, good sir?
Let's see. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea up there on ABC is looking pretty
Pretty
good.
sick.
Angels
Pretty
in the Outfield.
20,000 Leagues Under the ABC.
Oh, nice, dude. Angels in the Outfield. That is a great movie. My mom loves that. Shout out to Linda.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Linda.
Time Cop is on NBC.
Don't know what that
I've
is.
heard of that. No, I don't either, but it sounds pretty fun. Time Cop.
Sounds fun. I'd give it a watch if it was
Rock from
on
the
when nothing else was on.
Third Rock of the Sun looks like they're playing on the dick thing again with their episode
Yep,
names.
they love to put the word dick in their
15
episode
minutes
names,
of dick,
as we have discussed before. It was a big season finale night, I guess, on Fox, because this was the season finale of The Simpsons. I believe this was also an X-Files season finale. So
interesting. Just called Demons.
Coming up to the end of the season. But yeah, that's it for the TV guide. Let's see what else we had going on this week. Fifth Element came out.
Ooh,
that Friday.
So good.
Classic 90s film.
Yes.
I think this did it get some Oscar nominations the following year or this year?
I think Fifth Element has some awards, yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe we'll find out next season when the Oscars roll around on this very segment.
Yeah.
But classic movie.
Question.
The Spice Girls pinched the now king's booty and gave him a little kiss.
Oh, they were being cheeky,
because they did their first ever live performance in the UK. Was this night, and it was televised in the UK, and they got in a little bit of a scandal because they kissed this little freak on the cheek.
The Spice Girls arriving
for pinched his little bottom.
She then brushed off his protest.
There she goes. Look at him.
I done a year ago. You've got lipstick on you now.
Emma.
If only she knew where those cheeks had been. Am I right?
Yeah.
Both face and butt.
I don't think we need to dwell on Philip, but I'm sure there's lots of podcasts out there with details about that.
That's Charles.
Oh,
Philip
Charles?
is the brother. He was the known P word.
Yeah.
Rhymes with schmedophile. I'm sure that Charles is as well.
The only kings and monarchs I care about is King of the Hill.
Hey, that's good, man.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Really good. Good job.
Thanks, man.
I care a lot about the monarchy, actually. I respect the royal bloodline.
Yeah, I know the Canadians love to uphold monarchy.
I'm kidding. Fuck the queen. Fuck the king. Fuck them all. Yeah. Anywho, the Lakers went down 0-1 versus Utah in round. God, how did I write that? It was in the playoffs. I believe it was the first round of the playoffs. Yeah. This was one of Kobe Bryant's.
Time you can go down 0-1 is in the first round.
In the round. Wait, no, that's not true.
How would you do that? I guess you could.
In the second round, it's a 7-game series, man. Yeah. Sports much? Come on.
Yeah, but that would be down 0-2. The only time you can be 0-1 is after the first round.
No, in the series. 7-game series. Anywho, this was one of Kobe's infamous airball games where he airballed like 5 3-pointers, and this is like what he always cites as like the moment where he just like locked in focus-wise and became that clutch type of player. So
the Mamba.
Pretty cool little history fact there. It was also Harriet Quimby's 122nd birthday anniversary. She was much like Amelia Earhart, an American aviator, a pioneer even of aviation. She was the first woman in the U.S. to receive a pilot certificate and cross the English Channel. She was born in Arcadia, Michigan, and she did die in a plane crash. She did, in fact, die in a plane crashing.
Shout out to Harriet Quimby, though. She died doing what she loved.
Yep, and that's all you can ask for, right? Speaking of dying doing what you love, there were 5 climbers on this day who perished on Mount Everest, one being a Sherpa. So I don't think Everest, if you know the lore and the history of Mount Everest, I don't think it was quite at the point of commercialization in the 90s. I think it was still, like, if you do Everest now, it's basically like, how much money do you have? It has nothing
ramping
to do with,
up.
Yeah.
The commercialism of the mountain was ramping up for sure.
It was kind of
this,
an Everest
I think,
boom.
This 97 date, this is the same circumstances that Krakauer's book Into Thin Air is about, right? John Krakauer.
I think someone fell into a crevasse.
This is okay. So this is a different Everest disaster then, maybe. Yeah. Chomolungma, man, gotta pay your respects to her.
Who?
Chomolungma?
Chumbawamba?
No, dude. The mountain's got a real name, dude. You're calling her the white people name. Everest.
The Everest real name is Chumbawamba?
Yeah. She thumps tubs.
That's cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
And finally here on This Week in Ireland, real estate tycoon Lee Miglin was killed by a spree killer who would later, I believe a few months later, go on to murder Gianni Versace. Who this murder was the subject of that American Crime Story FX show, like the Versace murders. So that murderer was like, he just like kind of killed random people seemingly. He killed this dude in Chicago, this old guy, Lee Miglin, just like outside of his house. And then later on, somehow made his way to killing one of the Versaces.
Wild.
Yeah. Do we just get into the fucking episode?
Mm-hmm.
Get this shit over with?
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, baby.
All right. I jest. Episode 12 of King of the Hill. We made it. We're here. Plastic white female. The blurb for this episode is when Joseph announced that he is throwing his first co-ed party, Bobby debates attending as it would being around girls. However, he finds a crutch that helps him overcome his fears, although it earns Hank's disapproval and threatens Luann's upcoming exam. That pretty much sums it up right there. This episode was written by David Zuckerman and directed by Jeff Myers. I mentioned it came out on May 11th.
What were your initial on your first watch through?
First watch through, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like an okay episode. Second watch through, it grew on me a lot.
Yeah, it was.
There's
a
lot of good
to me.
There's a lot of good gags in this one, though.
Yeah,
and the story's quite good.
Yeah, it definitely grew on me between my first watch and my second watch. I think we texted about it and we were kind of like, "What's this one?" You know, after our first watch, we were like, did this deserve to be the season finale? And then on second watch through it did grow on me for sure.
Yeah, I did have one major gripe with the episode, and we'll get to that a little later, but the ending was horrible. The way that this episode ended was just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? The rest of the episode I thought was like quite solid.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say mid, it was like slightly above mid.
Yeah, I thought mid at first, but then my opinion rose for sure. But yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Yeah, we got a little cold open. Let's get it going. Bobby and Joseph are on an overpass, like spitting over an overpass.
On cars.
Which there's a famous, one of my favorite Simpsons episodes also starts with Bart and Milhouse on an overpass spitting over the overpass. Or actually, I think they're spitting over it and also just pouring mustard on cars.
That's funny. That's pretty good.
It's like that's a trope. Is that like a thing that people do?
Yeah, that's
Have
definitely
you ever done that? Have you spit on cars? What's the most
Um,
mischievous shit you did as a kid?
Oh man. No, I was.
Were you a little
super
rascal?
duper mischievous kid. No. You know, there's some accidentally broken windows in the neighborhood.
Accidentally?
Yeah, ball throwing. Yeah.
That's not bad.
I can't comment on a bunch of stuff because statute of
The
limitations.
statute of limitations. Wait, is it that bad? I said when you were a kid.
No, let's see. I think one time did get in trouble when we were on a camp out for throwing dirt clods at cars kind of from an overpass. So I did something very similar to this cold open. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I definitely broke some windows, not accidentally, which I am slightly ashamed to admit. I spray painted some shit. Yeah, I had in middle school particularly, I had like a vandalism phase.
Yeah. Was this
A
like
friend
right
of
after you moved to Oklahoma and you were
No,
like,
I
I
was
hate this place?
still in Canada actually. Shout out
Whoa.
to Patrick Wafer, uh, who does have a child now. We would just walk
Shout out
around
Patty
the
Waves.
neighborhood at night. One time we got some spray paint and we were going to climb up the water tower and paint a pot leaf on it. We had
Nice.
never smoked weed
Of course not.
in our entire lives. We were like
not.
13 years old, but we watched that 70s show and we thought it was cool. And we got them some green spray paint and we got caught by a cop trying to climb by a Royal Canadian Mounted Police, bud. Wow. Came up on horseback with this crazy hat. He basically told us he said to take a hike.
Nice.
And my buddy Patrick, I was terrified because I did not like getting in trouble. My buddy Patrick was, I guess, quite used to it. So he was just kind of like sassing the cop.
No.
And his comeback, I still remember it because I remember thinking like that was a kind of a shitty comeback. The cop told us to take a hike and he just goes like, I didn't bring my hiking boots. Which,
hey,
like,
at least he had a pop off ready to
tried,
go.
And he did pop off. And the cop did not even like try to get in contact with our parents. He just told us to leave. And we
he didn't
away.
want to deal with you two for the rest of the night. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, they're on the overpass. Oh, is there a fun name for like hoodlum activities in Canada, or is that just like
not like a Canadian specific thing?
No, nothing.
I mean, you're being a bit of a hoser, I guess.
Okay.
I guess like the etymology of the word hoser, there's like some debate over where it came from, but you've heard that insult before, right? You're a hoser. A lot of people say that it came from pond hockey, like the losing team would have to hose off the ice, like to essentially like level it out and refreeze so it's not all cut up. And they would be called hosers, which basically means like you're a loser.
Interesting.
But some people also say that it's associated with the Great Depression and people who would steal gas by siphoning it. And they're hosers. So that's kind of like a hoodlum.
It either means loser or sucker.
Loser or literal sucker. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, the guys are spitting over an overpass, and Joseph mentions that he's having a party. And that it is going to be a boy-girl party, so there will not be any cake in attendance at this.
What I kind of thought was funny in this quick scene, because it's a quick open. There's not a lot going
quick and
on
hot
here. Bobby asks. Joseph says he's having a party on Sunday. Bobby asks if he can come, like he's not Bobby's best friend and neighbor, which I kind of thought was funny. And he's like, sure, I get, yeah,
sure, man.
Obviously, dude, we're out here spitting on cars on the overpass. Do you think you weren't coming to my party?
Yeah, man. We spit together.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice short cold open. Bobby immediately seems nervous about the party, and then we go right into a theme song. Did you notice that this theme song was different?
It's different. Yeah.
It seemed like the opening seemed kind of like the guy playing guitar fucked up a little.
Yeah.
And then you get the nice like fucking shredding version.
Yeah.
It's like a hard rock version of the theme song.
This leads me to think that I don't actually think this episode was supposed to be the season finale.
Yeah, I think it may have been really early.
Out of place. It would have to be after the Supernussenpones get in town, because that's not until kind of like the middle of this season. Yeah. But it does feel like the way that the episode itself ends, and then that note about the theme music, it does feel that this is a little bit out of place or was tacked onto the end. And then,
well, in that little like documentary short that you actually sent me earlier today about the first season, Mike Judge mentioned that when they were like pitching the show, they had 4 episode ideas like already in the can and essentially written. This might have been one of those 4, like the first 4 that were written.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It feels a little out of place for a season finale. And then I don't exactly know the timeline on it, but I think that they used a different version of the intro song for the first season. Like as it originally aired, it might have had a different version, and then they gave it a cleanup for the remainder and kind of pasted over it. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I'm just
No, I
making that up.
definitely recall hearing this like hard rock version of the theme song elsewhere. Like I recognized it when I heard it. I think they use it sometimes.
But there are a couple little things in this episode that, there's some little snags, and that theme song is like just
It's
one of the little snags.
snagful. It's a little snagful.
Some snaggles.
But we get a nice little change up on the theme song, and we cut to the Arlen Beauty Academy. Luann is in class getting lectured by the teacher, who is played by...
Guest star alert, baby.
Guest star
Jennifer
alert. Guest star alert.
Jennifer Coolidge is in this episode. I saw that and I was like, oh, sick. I didn't know she did some time on King of the Hill.
It really doesn't sound like her. Like
no,
whenever I saw that she
eyes.
was in there, I think I just saw it in like the end credits or something. And then I was like, fucking Jennifer Coolidge? Who is she? But once you know it's her, you can really hear it in the voice.
I mean, this aired 27 years-ish ago from where we're recording, so obviously her voice has changed a lot now, and we're recording in the age of White Lotus, kind of a little bit Jennifer Coolidge
in the new
renaissance,
era.
But
welcome to the new age.
Yeah.
To the cool age.
Yeah, she plays a pretty fun little character, but yeah, she does good.
Yep, she is lecturing, basically calls out Luann for being a dummy, sets up, you get a little bit of exposition that the final exam is coming up in between like the first year and the second year, and that's kind of like the make or break for the people who aren't cut out for this. And she references directly to Luann, calls on Luann to answer a question, and she gets it completely wrong. And everyone in the class seems to kind of also think Luann is dumb.
Yes, I will say, though, that here Luann is not wrong. The answer that she gives is that she asks something about like what happened, and Luann says it didn't look good. When we get to the end of the episode, we'll come back to that. And being a hairdresser, like, doesn't necessarily matter what happened. It's like, did it look good? So Luann says it didn't look good, which I don't think she was wrong there. What do I know? I'm not a beautician.
I mean, you know that I'm always on Luann's side as well. A Luaniac, a loose stan.
But she's under pressure.
She's under pressure. And after this scene, it cuts back to the Hill House with Bobby asking Luann questions from a beauty textbook, and they seem to be like math-based questions. So that does lead me to believe that there are very specific and like numerical answers to all of these questions that are about cutting hair. Connie is getting highlights on the couch while Bobby is quizzing Luann. We get Hank coming in. I love the joke that Hank delivers. Might have been my favorite like throwaway joke in the episode. He's sorting through the mail. Bills. Why do we keep getting Bill's mail? So
such a
funny
joke.
I didn't catch that like the first time I watched it. Because I was like taking notes, and then the second time I was like, he's talking about Bill. That's hilarious. Luann immediately offers to cut Hank's hair. He seems skeptical, but agrees and goes into the kitchen to see Peggy, who just got her hair did, looking like a troll doll.
She's looking like a Saiyan, dude.
Yep.
She's looking like a Super Saiyan. And
he definitely immediately starts to regret accepting Luann's offer. From there,
Connie, they pull off the hair dyeing cap, and Connie's hair has not changed at all.
She's done nothing. I also loved how Hank said that his hair is their livelihood.
Yeah,
he's like, this is the money maker, babe.
Yeah, he also says he hasn't gotten his hair trimmed and cut in about a week, so he could use a trim.
Yeah, so that's a very like like conservative dude, like no style, no riz type of
every
move.
2 weeks, the same haircut.
Yeah.
But Connie says she can't see any highlights, and Luann is like, yes, you can. You love them.
Yeah. Luann also offers to dye Hank's hair instead, and he says men don't do that, which newsflash, Hanky. Suck it, bitch.
Oh my gosh.
I did this specifically for this gag.
Nice. Love it. She says that Ronald Reagan dyed his hair, and Hank is like, if Ron Reagan dyed his hair, it was only to show his strength to the communists.
Very true. Fuck Ronald Reagan.
Which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah.
You wanna react to the fuck Ronald Reagan thing?
The only good part about his administration is it gave us
the trickle down economics. You're a big fan of those?
No, I was gonna say C. Everett Koop.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Okay. I do love C. Everett Koop. Shout out to my C. Everett Koop heads out there.
From Cooper Troopers.
Cooper. He's gonna be my Hill King for this episode. Spoiler alert. I'm just gonna pick C. Everett Koop for every episode from now on. From there we cut to not really the alley. It seems like the inside lawn. Hank's fence, like maybe on the other side of the alley. Yeah. The guys are sitting around Hank on his mower.
So funny. Such a weird power dynamic.
Yeah, just standing around Hank while he's on his mower.
The only one sitting.
Dale mentions that Joseph is having a party, and that there won't be any hanky-panky while he's there. While John Redcorn pulls up to drop off Nancy, which is so fucking funny. And there's like a knowing look from Hank at one point in this scene. Yeah. Where I was immediately like, Hank knows. Everyone knows. Obviously, they do.
Yeah, they've
so
touched
obvious.
on it in other episodes. I think everybody knows what's up already. They
clearly
gave some pretty heavy winks and nods to it. But yeah, this is one of those times where it's like, what's going on in the background is the joke.
Yeah.
Because John Redcorn or Nancy gets back into the car. She like gets some groceries. Yeah. And then gets back into the Jeep with John Redcorn.
No big deal. Hank is also kind of bragging about Bobby. It becomes like kind of a dick measuring thing, and he's like, watch out when my Bobby shows up. Like he's really gonna, which there's no way Hank actually believes that. But Hank also mentions that they used to call him Ricardo Montalbaum when he was younger. Did you happen to look up who Ricardo Montalbaum is?
I did. It sent me down a little Wikipedia.
A Montalbaum hole
for a little Montalbaum hole.
A Ricardo hole.
Mostly known for Fantasy Island. He's also on Planet of the Apes and Star Trek. I believe he is an American and Mexican citizen. I think he was born in Mexico. I didn't go too deep in it. Mexican American, coined some type of phrase about rich Corinthian leather. I guess later on in his acting career, he became a spokesman for Chrysler. And one of the tags for their cars was something about like rich Corinthian leather, which I think comes up later on in this series, where I know is like kind of a trope now. But the joke with rich Corinthian leather is that there was no such thing as Corinthian leather. It was the same leather they were using in all their other vehicles. They were just calling it something else.
Classic marketing. Holy shit! He played Khan in Wrath of Khan.
Star Trek. Yeah. He's a very famous, well-accomplished actor. Although he doesn't really have a ton of awards, but I think he was kind of like
It's not all about awards, Chris.
Yeah, it's not.
Even though we are the most awarded podcast of all time.
That's true. That's a fact.
It's not about awards.
I thought this line from Hank about they used to call him Ricardo Montalban is interesting, given how
repressed he is.
Yeah, how repressed he is. And then what we've seen like of his dating career in flashbacks and things whenever it comes to
Hank used to sling it around. Do you think he used to like get it wet?
Perhaps, because I guess Bobby at this age is in middle school and all the flashbacks we've seen of Hank are in high school. So maybe something happens between high school and middle school that turns Hank off. Or
high school and middle school?
Yeah. Because Bobby's middle school age. Hank says, back in my day, they used to call me Ricardo Montalban. But so far, the only thing we know about his dating life is from, flashbacks from high school. So in
Hmm.
middle school, he was a ladies' man. In high school, not so much, maybe? Who knows?
I mean, we don't know that he wasn't a ladies' man. The flashbacks that we got, he seemed kind of cool and hot.
That's true. He did used to smoke.
He smoked. That's
Yeah.
cool and hot, as we established in the smoking episode.
Yeah. Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah, Hank.
Shout out to him.
Hank used to be referred to as Ricardo Montalban, who played Khan in Wrath of Khan. From there, we go back into the Hill house in the kitchen. Hank brings up the party to Bobby, mentions cooties. Bobby doesn't know what cooties is, which doesn't make sense for the 90s. He says,
So funny.
you mean like chlamydia?
Yeah.
Which is great. So he knows what chlamydia is. Peggy
That
taught
might
him
have been
that
my
in sex
favorite.
ed.
That might have been my favorite one line.
Yeah.
Was that
you can immediately see that Peggy is jealous, has a little bit of like a maybe like Oedipus level. I'm in love with my
Well,
son.
that's
in
her
love
baby.
with my mommy. Yeah,
That's her baby boy. She's very protective of Bobby. And that's going to be some of the other conflict of this episode is kind of between Peggy and Hank about how they're treating Bobby. Hank is going to, make the argument that she's babying him and all that type of stuff. And, Peggy is going to make the argument that, he's not ready, he's sensitive and all this. So there's going to be some difference of opinions between Hank and Peggy throughout this episode.
Yep. Luann also chimes in this scene and kind of reassures Bobby that it's not that bad and that they'll be touch dancing and that she just needs some practice. I loved Peggy's like glare to Luann whenever she says touch dancing and you just need some practice. Very good. Peggy's just like, don't you fuck you.
Bobby says, I don't want to get felt up whenever Luann talks about touch dancing.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Also very funny line from Bobby because way early in the sex ed episode,
he's afraid of being a slut.
Yeah, he says, I'm afraid of being a slut. He doesn't want to get
Is your
felt up.
heart racing? Are you upset?
I'm loving Luann in this one so far.
Yeah.
From there, we cut back to the beauty academy, and I really love coming into a scene where a character is like finishing up what they're saying. The teacher just says, and that's why blondes don't necessarily have more fun.
Yes,
and
I
then
love
just
that
like
line.
moves on to something else. So funny.
I had one other note about that last scene around the kitchen table. Hank says something about, do you think Jeff Foxworthy just woke up in the morning and took funny pills?
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out if they were like trying to slight Jeff Foxworthy there or saying that he wasn't funny, or if they were trying to like hold him up as an example. I listened to it back several times and I couldn't tell if they were taking a jab at Foxworthy or if they were being like, Foxworthy's hot, because he's a Texas comedian. Late 90s was really his big ramp up time. So I couldn't tell, but we get a Jeff Foxworthy mention. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I feel like it was definitely meant to be like Hank likes Jeff Foxworthy a lot, but there was a little subtext to that, like the writers maybe are giving a jab, but I think Hank genuinely would probably enjoy Jeff Foxworthy. I know that a lot of people in the South enjoyed the blue collar comedy tour.
I was a blue collar comedy enjoyer as a child.
It was definitely on a lot, even like when I lived in Canada, like it was very popular and like my parents thought it was really funny. I grew out of it very fast.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that Hank brought up Jeff Foxworthy, and I was like, are they sliding Foxworthy here?
Definitely seemed like a slight for sure. But back at the beauty academy, the teacher explains their final exam that is coming up and brings out all of the plastic heads with hair on them, and that their exam will be to demonstrate an entire year's worth of theory on this one head. You get one shot, one head. This lady kind of sucks and is just still kind of dissing Luann.
She singles Luann out again,
But short scene there. They just roll out the tray of heads. Everybody gets their heads. And then we get to see Bobby.
Everybody gets head.
Everybody gets head on this podcast. That's what I'm talking about.
A head. Everyone gets a head.
Everybody gets a head to cut the hair on and also suck off.
Yo.
Oof. We cut to Bobby having a bit of a fever dream, which was visually maybe the coolest thing of the entire season.
Uh-huh.
Like all the girls are taller than him, and they have like multiple boobs, and they're just like spraying perfume and like towering
Yes.
over him and scaring him, and it's all dark, and he's like running away and shit.
Yeah, now that he knows he's going to a party where there's going to be girls at, he's like very intimidated and kind of scared. And yeah, we get this kind of like Willy Wonka fever dream, which is very funny. He drops a book, and that's what kind of like starts it off. But Connie snaps him out of it.
Yep. Bobby asks if she's going to be going to the party. She says she's not. Her dad won't let her talk to boys until she's married.
Yes, I thought that was funny.
Which is really good.
Classic.
But classic, just like showing that Bobby is a late bloomer, like especially that middle school, like when everyone starts hitting puberty and the boys are all way shorter than the girls.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a late bloomer? Were you a regular bloomer? How was your Riz?
I think I was on a fairly normal schedule. I was short in 7th grade, shorter than a bunch of girls in 7th grade, and then taller by 8th grade. So I don't know if that's late or not.
Yeah, I definitely was generally one of the taller in my class.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely wasn't a late
And now
bloomer.
you're 4'11".
Yeah, I shrank somehow.
Yeah, dude.
I'm just like a little guy. Definitely wasn't a late bloomer, but I wasn't risen up the ladies because I was a chunker. I was a little chubbler. So I definitely relate to Bobby in the like being afraid of talking to girls and being self-conscious area.
I didn't gain self-consciousness until later on.
Self-consciousness?
Until like
or self-confidence.
No, I was overly confident as a middle schooler. Some would call a naive, maybe.
Did you go to a boy-girl party ever?
Yeah, we had boy-girl parties. I do recall those.
Did you touch dance?
No.
What are you doing, step bro?
Actually, yeah, we did. Middle school dances.
Shout
out
middle
to everybody
school dances,
that remembers middle school
man.
dances.
That was a time.
Dome.
I remember the first time I asked a girl to a dance. It was in 7th grade, so probably around Bobby's age. Shout out Bleep Bloop Z.
Dang, dude, he's
I
putting
asked
last
her
names in the show.
Maybe I'll bleep that. I don't know. Bleep Bloop.
It's 2 girls. It's 2
Oh,
girls.
it's 2 first names. Narrow it down. I was so fucking nervous, and I asked her like right after English class. She like sat in front of me, and she said yes, and I was ecstatic. And then the dance happened, and neither of us even like looked at each other or spoke. I was like, I can't do it.
That's my date over there.
Yeah, she's my date, man.
Wait, they have English class in Canada?
Yeah, man. Yep. I went to a French school, so it was
Jock
kind
in
of like
their
having
style.
Spanish.
See,
Except it was English.
Wait.
Any hoodles? From there, we are back at the Hill House. Hank brings out a couple of bolo ties and asks Bobby which one he's going to wear to the party. Bobby says he's
the cow skull or the bull skull.
Cow skull or the bull skull. I like a bolo tie.
I've got a cow skull bolo tie in my closet.
You didn't wear it for the episode, man?
No, dude, I should have.
Come on. You're not gonna dress up for me?
It's a dead man's bolo tie. Also, I bought it from an estate sale.
Shit, that's awesome. Haunted bolo tie. Bobby says he's not going. Hank is immediately like, what the fuck? Peggy asks to talk to Hank in the kitchen, and another good line from Hank, this better be about dinner.
This better be about dinner.
They essentially, like you mentioned earlier, have a difference of opinions that she's holding Bobby back. Hank is kind of pushing him forward a little too early. And Peggy calls him a late bloomer. Bobby can very obviously overhear.
He's just right there.
They're saying he's like within earshot easily.
Yeah.
And then Louise comes, Louise. Fuck, I was watching Bob's Burgers earlier. Luann comes home with her head, shows it to Peggy. This was my favorite moment with Luann. Like Peggy kind of reaches in to look at it, and she gives like a don't touch it, like screech. And Bobby immediately, you can tell, wants to fuck this thing.
Yeah, he makes eye contact with this mannequin head, and it is an awakening for him.
Bruh.
He's found the love of his life.
Yep.
Um,
He very obviously wants to fuck the head.
There's a couple other things I noticed here in this scene before it cuts to commercial break. One is Luann's outfit. She's
Yeah,
in
she's wearing
a
like a little pink
button up top and blue long
crop
pants.
top situation.
Mm-hmm. In the beauty school, she is in her normal green top, red bike shorts.
So she changed.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting outfits in this episode that I picked up on, and there's also some animation inconsistencies. But yeah, Luann's got this pink top and blue pants on, which is not normal, her normal outfit, and we're gonna see her in it one more time after the commercial break.
I mean, I didn't hate it.
I also had Luann here as Luann and Peggy are kind of talking, and as Bobby is like looking at this mannequin, the audio of them talking fades out, like he's focusing in and everything. And we hear Luann say it's her chance to prove to everyone that it doesn't matter that she wasn't paying attention. Did you catch that?
I didn't.
No, yeah. In the audio, as it's fading out, she says it's like
Based.
this is her chance to prove that it doesn't matter that she wasn't paying attention, which is kind of funny.
That was basically my entire goal in college.
Yeah,
and I did great in college.
mm-hmm. But Bob's got a bone for this dome.
We get our first commercial break after
commercial
this.
break there.
And then we come back again to the Hill House. From the outside, Bobby is looking in at Luann,
reaping in the window,
just staring at her in the dark.
Not
from
staring
outside.
at her. He's
staring at the head. Yes, he's staring at the head, consumed by his lust. And then Luann starts to unbutton her top, and he just walks away. One interesting tidbit I found here: that little scene was removed from when this episode is re-aired in syndication.
Yeah, I saw that too. Also, another strange outfit alert here. Bobby is in like a robe here as well.
Yeah, it's his like bedtime clothes.
He's got like his little robe.
I think like Luann was maybe getting ready for bed or something.
She's in the pink top, and I suspect that the pink top that they put her in that has buttons is specifically for
that
scene.
gag. That makes sense. Cut to the next day. Inside, Bobby's sitting on the couch, very obviously pretending to play his Game Boy, and Peggy
at the head through the
Yeah.
From the living room into the kitchen.
Yeah, just kind of waiting for Peggy to leave. Peggy and Luann go to Sears. Bobby makes an excuse
Sale on jockey shorts.
Yeah, stay behind because there is a program about an after-school special about Jesus on
About
TV.
Jesus, yeah.
And Peggy's like, well, obviously you got to watch that. And they leave, leaving Bobby home alone.
Did you catch Peggy mispronouncing Vamanos?
Vamanos. Yeah.
Vamanos.
Yeah. Good little throwaway. You love anytime Peggy mispronounces something in Spanish.
It's always part of Peg.
Bobby has a little date. Another strange outfit.
Peggy has
Peggy's
like on
wearing
a
like
bandana.
some shit on her head.
She's wearing like a headscarf. She's got like a bandana.
Yeah, atypical.
For driving.
They were really like all over the place with the the wardrobe changes.
That's what I was saying, dude. I marked it down.
Yeah, Bobby kind of has like a date with the head. It's very
He's
like
practicing
wholesome.
His game.
He brings some grape soda. They're out a diet. Seems like they get home very quickly.
Yes.
So like, what was he doing in the interim? Is my question.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe they just turned around real quick. Maybe they live close to the mall. But yeah, Peggy comes
generous.
in. Peggy comes in and she's like, "Hey, Bobby," and Bobby's like, "Nothing."
Very inconspicuous for sure. It seems as though he's just trying to use it to gain confidence, but it also seems like he genuinely kind of wants to fuck this thing.
I think it's a little of both.
It definitely seems like a little of both. Which, like hormones, we've all been there.
Yeah. Sometimes you get attracted to inanimate objects.
We've all been there.
Listen, uncles, it's a part of growing up.
Yeah. And you've all probably been there too. Comment the inanimate objects that all of you have wanted to fuck.
Yeah, drop them in the comments, please. There's a little note here about the cans of grape soda that popped up online about an animation inconsistency. The cans change color in the scene where it looks like Bobby's sipping the soda. Some people think it's beer. I looked at it. It does still look like it says GRAP on it, but it is the color of an Alamo beer can at one point in time. So the cans go from purple. Bobby's drinking it. It's the color of Alamo beer, but it says grape, or it says GRA. Yeah.
You heard it
Snag,
here
animation
first,
inconsistency.
folks. You heard it here first,
I'm about to
folks.
bust.
It's the late 90s. You're gonna have these little things.
Yeah, hand drawn cell animation.
Mhm.
Bring it back.
It's
We
charm.
cut back to the lawn, sitting around the
Mhm.
mower again. They are doing some day drinking.
The
Is
boys are
this?
mad
Yeah,
that
Hank
Hank is
is
late.
15 minutes late. They have scheduled time to day drink.
Yeah.
Also, starting drinking at noon. Come on, guys.
You know, there's a famous Canadian that said you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Who is that?
Drake from the Toronto,
Ah, fuck that guy.
from the Six. Hank's late because he overslept.
Yep, he overslept. This
It's
long
noon now.
hair rustling in his ears has been keeping him up all night, which his
Mhm.
hair looks exactly the same.
So
But it's
funny.
getting unruly. It's getting
Mhm.
long.
It's keeping him up at night.
Bill offers for Luann to come to the military base because she comes out, notices Hank's hair is getting all scraggly and long.
Uh-huh.
And Bill says that she can come try out some haircuts on the military base. I believe this is the first mention that we get of Bill specifically being a military barber, right?
I think so. I think we've known that he's in the army before this, but I think
Yeah,
this is the
like
first time we
vague
know.
references. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first real glimpse of him. Bill starts to show some empathy to Luann being a new barber. And he's like, I remember when I was just first getting started out, and Dale cuts him off. No one cares, Bill.
He's just kind of defeated. Stops talking.
So sad.
So mean to my man Bill.
I know.
And then we get a short little scene of Luann giving a lovely haircut to an army guy.
She does good.
It looks great. Bill compliments her work and then immediately buzzes the hair off. And the guy gives a nice smile. Nice little short scene there. And then we're back at the Hill House. Bobby comes in looking like
breakfast.
a weatherman, according to Hank.
He's got a tie on.
Yeah, he's slimming down for the party.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants a nice light breakfast.
I think one of my favorite lines from the episode is right here. Bobby says that he's trying to slim down for Joseph's party, and Hank says, "I'm proud of you, Bobby." And then Bobby says, "Hell, I'm proud of you too, Dad."
Yeah.
Bye.
And Luann finds a hair on his shoulder and says he has a girlfriend. Peggy's immediately like, "No, he doesn't." Bobby's like, "No, I don't," and gets super defensive, and he's acting all suspicious and kind of rushes out of there pretty quickly.
He does have a girlfriend.
Yeah, it's a plastic head.
It's a single white female.
We then get a super weird Beach Boys montage of Bobby in the head in between like the school and like the house.
Yeah.
Like Bobby running around having little dates with this,
falling in love with the head.
Licensing a Beach Boys song in the first season had to have cost a little bit. Mike Judge.
Impressive get.
That part was weird. That was a low light for me.
I thought it fit in nicely with the story. I was waiting for some funnier things to happen with the head, and just like the bits weren't quite funny enough. Like he pushes in the chair and the head kind of like falls over. Like I wanted some more shtick out of the montage, but I thought the montage itself fit in. It's like, this is them falling in love. This is their like dating romance montage.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I love a montage. I'm a big montage guy. It just has to be executed properly. And I didn't feel as though the jokes were solid enough. Also, I didn't think that the song choice was quite there. Like that song, maybe it's just like looking at it back at it now, like that song's kind of overplayed. Like, wouldn't it be nice if we were older?
I feel like that's the classic falling in love montage.
Yeah, they could have done something different.
Yeah, I wanted better jokes out of the montage, but I thought it fit.
It fell a little flat for me, but it was a decent
But it's actually gonna give Bobby some real life confidence.
He's rizzed up now.
He comes to school the next day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Spitting game.
Yes, dude. So impressed with our boy.
Call him the Rizzler. He's rizzling ladies left and right.
Joseph is gonna come up and be like, "Bobby, how did you get so slick?"
Where'd all that Riz come bro.
Another favorite line. Yo, Sharice, you stone cold fox, what up?
Yeah. I
So
want to hear
good.
more from Sharice.
I noticed something interesting here. There's kind of like a story that doesn't get told, or there's like an alternate storyline here with the tall girl from this episode. In the first, Bobby's kind of fever dream at school with all the girls. Tall girl at the lockers kind of stares down at him and scowls. In this scene where Bobby comes back with the Riz, he does drop his book, but he like flips it up with his foot and catches it
flip.
and gets a smile from tall girl.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ooh, tall girl is noticing Bob
something.
over here.
Well, something with tall girl.
Yeah.
That newfound Riz.
Yo, Sharice, you
Joseph
stone cold fox, what up? So funny.
Joseph mentions that Bobby is going to be a big hit at the party, and that there is going to be spin the bottle. There's going to be kissing, and Bobby's dick immediately goes up into his belly. And he's scared now. He's right back to being scared. Did you ever go? Did you go to a party where there was like kissing
Supposedly,
dare
yes.
games, spin the bottle? Supposedly,
yes.
What do you mean?
I mean, what do you think we mean? Well, there one boy girl party supposedly it was supposedly 7 minutes in heaven was going to be played, but it never happened.
Oh, no one ever actually did any kissing?
No. It's just one of those talk up things.
See, I went to my first. Oh, this is fucking embarrassing that I'm going to say this on a podcast. Do I say this? I guess I can cut it out if I decide that I don't want to. My first ever kiss was like it was a dare type game situation in a basement with some people in like 7th or 8th grade. Again, I was a fat kid. I was unpopular, but I was
Canadian.
And well, they were all Canadian.
Yeah,
everyone there was Canadian because it was in Canada. But I had some Bobby Riz. I was like the funny fat kid. Occasionally I would get chuckles and it would like build up the confidence a little bit. And I got invited to this thing. I didn't know that it was going to be there's equal amounts to girls and guys type situation. And it was while the movie Butterfly Effect was we were sitting around watching that shitty ass Ashton Kutcher movie. And it was bad. I did a bad job, I think.
It's all right. You're married now, so.
To that girl. That's my now wife, yeah. My first and only kiss. That's not true. But you never actually did the 7 minutes in heaven? How does that one work? You just go into a closet and finger each other or something?
I don't know, dude. I think heaven is a personal thing. So those 7 minutes could be different to each individual person.
Yeah, you could just go in there and play Scrabble or something.
7 minutes is such a long time, dude.
No, it's not.
What? What do you mean it's not? I thought it was a long time.
I've never lasted 7 minutes.
To bust.
Yeah. That was a huge thing also in middle school was just the making out of it all. And also
the making out of it all.
Any couple that was dating, it was he's gonna finger her at the movies.
No.
It was
if known that the movies is where you went to make out though. In middle school.
If you fingered a girl at
Shout
the
out
movies,
to the Quail Springs AMC.
Did you ever? That's where I first fingered a girl at the movies.
That's where I first got fingered. Yeah, dude.
Bobby, not editing that out. That's for sure.
Once Bobby finds out there's going to be spin the bottle at this party, though, he immediately has to practice with the head.
Yes, and that is when we get the next scene. Bobby's room. Bobby is dressed like Hugh Hefner. And he's got an ascot, tucked into it. He's risen up the doll. He says he has something special planned.
Ooh.
Right as Peggy comes home,
pulls out the ketchup, gives it a spin.
A nice bright red ketchup bottle, which generally, sorry, nitpicky, ketchup bottles are usually clear. Yeah.
I suppose that was a glass ketchup bottle that was probably
Yeah.
full.
You think it was full?
I mean, I guess it would have been if it was all red and it
I
was
guess
glass.
I guess I can check this later, but I think there wasn't a cap on it.
Who knows?
I think it was supposed to be empty. Red
Another
glass, though.
animation snag.
Fancy. So Bobby he takes out the thing. He's getting ready to kiss this thing. Peggy comes home. Bobby doesn't hear it. Walks right in on Bobby.
Says something about like, don't worry. I don't know if he says like, I'll be gentle, but he's like, don't worry, baby. And Peggy, I guess probably Peggy thinks it's a real
Oh
girl
yeah,
in
she
there.
overhears him. Thinks that he says relax, baby.
Yeah.
I have that written down, which weird thing to say. Weird thing to say. But both of their faces and the like cut between each of them just like screaming. So good. Did you ever get walked in on? Let's get into it. We all know the answers, yes.
Probably, yeah.
No specific memory, or you're opting out?
Probably less so my parents, more so my siblings.
See, I never, to my knowledge, got caught. I'm a sneaky cranker.
Yeah, probably more so my siblings than my parents.
Okay. I have walked in on several people, especially my college roommate.
Yeah, that was frequent.
Yeah, in the dorms. Like I think he just like knew my class schedule, and there was one time where a class was canceled or something and I came home early, and he was mad. He was mad that I walked in. And I was like, I live here, man.
He was like, I'm about to kiss this mannequin.
Yeah, he had a sex doll. But yeah, Bobby says, relax, baby. Peggy walks in. It's very traumatic. We cut to Peggy and Hank in their bedroom arguing.
It's a commercial there.
Is there a commercial break there?
Yeah,
okay.
It goes right to commercial after Peggy comes in.
Nice
So
little
that's our second
commercial
break there.
cliffhanger. Then we come back to Peggy and Hank arguing. Hank says maybe he just fell on it.
Maybe he just fell on it. So funny.
Peggy blames Hank for sending him to that camp that didn't have toilet doors, and Hank blames the Muppets, which immediate disqualifier for Hill King for me.
I know. I knew you were going to pick up on this.
As you can all see.
Brad's a Muppet boy.
I'm a Muppet man.
Yeah, they got frogs kissing pigs. What did they think was going to happen? Oh, Kermit.
Joy.
Oh,
Kermit.
Piggy.
Oh, Piggy. Oh, Piggy. Stick it in, Piggy.
Oh, Piggy. Fun fact for the listeners, Brad and I used to do those voices all the time.
Yep. Kermit, fucking Piggy. Peggy says that they should move to Berlin because people there
need to be sensible.
Are more accepting. Because Bobby is obviously a freak and needs to go live amongst the freaks who live in Germany.
She does call him a freak here.
Yeah, she does.
She says they're very tolerant of freaks. Hank is going to stand up for Bobby here and say that he's not a freak. He's confused.
Yeah, he's confused, and Hank is going to set him straight.
He's going to cut the apron strings.
They announce when they're down the hallway that they're coming down the hallway.
So funny.
They announce when they're at the door. And they also knock, and they say they're going to come in, and then there's a like very long and pregnant pause in between them saying we're opening the door and then them opening the door, and then hardest laugh of the episode, they open the door and Peggy's has her back turned.
Peggy's turned around. Yes,
it's so funny.
Good. I think this is very obviously they've caught Bobby being a freak with this mannequin head, right? But I think this is the stand-in episode for caught your son spanking it. In sitcom land, like that's kind of a weird.
Obviously, they can't directly say like that Bobby was cranking his thing.
Yeah, but this is the stand-in for the like, family issue that they're going to tackle. The sitcom family topic that they're going to tackle in this episode is Bobby being a little freaky.
Yeah, Hank says that they should take a drive together. We get a very short scene of Bobby kind of explaining himself in the truck, that he was just practicing for the party.
Hank opens it up by saying, just so you know, most states won't allow you to marry a plastic head.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't want to marry it. I just want to fuck it.
Yeah, he's like, I was just using it for practice.
I just want to rub stuff on it.
Hank kind of gets, and he's like, oh, okay. Like, he's on the right. He's got interest in girls, which is what he was afraid
As
of in
long
the
as
first
as
half
long
of
as
the
he's
episode.
not gay, right?
Yeah.
Come
But
on, Hank.
Hank's gonna say that you can't use it as a crutch. And Bobby's gonna say it's not a crutch. I just use it to lean on every day of my life.
So that's actually after Hank locks the head. They go back to the house. Hank locks the head in
yes.
like an upper cabinet
Mhm.
and says that it's a crutch.
Yeah.
And then immediately that night, Bobby sneaks out to try to go get it,
Mhm.
rips an entire drawer of cutlery out, and it lands on the floor and makes a shitload of noise.
Mhm.
Hank hears it and gets up. Kind of seems like Hank's like about to get a gun,
Yeah.
but like doesn't come in with a gun. Like I wonder, why did we need that scene of him? Was he angry because he knew it was Bobby, or was he like, oh, there's an intruder?
Yeah, I don't
That
know.
part kind of confused me a little bit.
I thought that too, because if he thought it was an intruder, I mean, I guess Hank's a gun owner. We know that for sure.
Texas,
Yeah.
brother. But yeah, he comes in, sees that it's Bobby, says that tears it. Kind of seems like he's gonna kill someone.
Mhm.
He takes the head, goes into his little garage workshop and saws it in half.
With his safety
Luann,
goggles on.
with the safety goggles, you gotta have the safety goggles on. It's all about safety.
Mhm.
Luann comes in, sees it, and gives a very good. Brittany Murphy is
Good
good,
screams.
a good vocalist. Like I
Mhm.
wonder if she's a singer. She can really belt it out with the screams.
Yeah. And then Hank gets this really small, funny, cheesy smile. He's like,
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I screwed up.
And then after that, we cut immediately to the beauty academy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for Luann's final exam. They kind of cut down the line of everyone's exam heads and the lady inspecting them. And then Luann has brought Hank as her subject. The lady immediately starts tearing into Luann's work and fails her, says she did a horrible job.
Hank with a marker.
Yep. Hank drops a hard B here.
He does. This
lady is being a B, and Hank drops a hard B.
Yes, this was one of the things I texted you about. On after the first one, I was like, Hank says bitch in this episode, which I don't know about Fox in 1997, but that seemed pretty big to me that he would.
No, I think kind of the opposite. I think it was kind of normal to call women that.
Oh, interesting. Well, it seems very abnormal for Hank's character, but I don't think is wrong about her. It's abnormal for Hank's character to call a woman that, but she's been picking on Luann theoretically all semester.
I mean, yeah, you pick on Luann, you're a fucking bitch. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
I
would never call a woman a bitch.
Yeah. Hank would.
Hank would, and he did. He used a hard B, but kind of a sweet moment after this lady fails Luann, and she's quite upset. Hank starts to comfort her and using the Sharpie to kind of point out the spots of the haircut on his own head that he enjoyed, and said it's the best haircut that he's ever got. Which is pretty nice. It's a very nice thing of him to say. The lady overhears it and is so goddamn quick to apologize. A magical
change of heart.
She just immediately changes her mind, and then we get kind of the cliche, and then everyone in the class applauds.
Yes, it's very funny. There was a slow clap that
gets started. That never happened. Kind of story.
Yes, a slow clap gets started. Jennifer Coolidge's character says, she got so caught up in the power trip of running the academy that she forgot about the cornerstone of the hairstylist business, which is repeat customers.
Repeat, rinse, and repeat customers.
Yeah. And then this is also where I'll point out where I think Luann was right in the very first scene at the Beauty Academy, where she says that the customer didn't like it, and that was what was wrong with that situation. And we come back here to her final grading, and what eventually does pass her is that it doesn't matter how she got graded on the haircut, the customer liked it. So Luann was right all
about customer satisfaction, and that's the biggest takeaway that you should take from this episode and from this show in general.
The customer is always right.
The customer is always right.
So leave us your comments and concerns down below, and we'll
address every single
one.
Bend over
backwards.
Yes,
to accommodate
because
every single
you uncles are our customers, and you are always right in our eyes. Okay.
Customers and uncles.
All fucking 13 of you.
Customers.
Maybe, no?
Custom uncles. Yeah.
Custom
knows?
uncles.
Uncustomers.
But yeah, Luann passes her first year of beauty school. We then go back to the Hill House. Peggy walks into Bobby's room, and it seems like he's about to kiss Ladybird. He's like, "You're such a pretty girl."
Yeah, she catches him making kissy noises at
It kind of
Ladybird.
seemed like he was about to try to kiss Ladybird.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was just, saying he's got a cute dog. You never talk up your dogs?
All the time. They're beautiful angels. Come here, Sonny.
Mm-hmm.
Come here.
I know.
Come on up
Sonny
here.
in the background.
Oh,
Sonia.
I'll kiss you.
Hey, Sonia.
Oh, not at all. Thank you. Yeah.
Nice.
Obviously,
What up,
she's
Sonny?
beautiful, and I kiss her all the time, but I'm not
course.
going to make out with her.
Peggy says that your father told me you were just using the head to practice, and I know that he made that up to protect me.
But she admits to being overprotective and says that she's going to let him go, let him fly the coop.
She says that she's as much to blame for him as the media and the devil.
Such a Christian mom thing to say.
Yeah,
I did love
the media
how
and the devil.
She said, like, I'm going to let you go, but then just, like, will not
She
let
can't
go of
let him
him.
go
We get the nice, like,
physically.
visual gag of Bobby, like, physically dragging her out
Mm-hmm.
of the house. We then cut to, like, outside of the Gribble house.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby is walking up. He sees, I believe, Tall Girl.
It's Tall Girl. That's
walking
Tall
in.
Girl.
Yeah, shout out to Tall Girl. And he immediately changes his mind, starts to hightail it out of there. He starts walking home, and then Connie rolls up on her bike. She asks if he's going to the party. He says he is going to bail. She mentions
Joseph's birthday is in 9 weeks, and he doesn't want to get partied out.
That's right. That's a good excuse.
That's a great
solid
excuse.
Also admits that he's been practicing, or Connie says that she practices on her hand.
She shows him, yeah. I think he admits first. I think he says, like, my dad took my practice head or something like that. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I've been practicing too, and shows him on the back of her hand.
And he's like, fuck, why didn't I think of this? So I guess he didn't really actually, like, want to fuck the head fully. Seems like a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, he could have just been practicing on his hand that whole time. That's never something I understood. Hands
practicing with your hand?
Hands aren't really like lips, man.
Who knows?
I never personally did that. Maybe that's why the first kiss that I had was sent back.
Explain this?
Whoa, who is that?
If hands aren't lips,
who is
you
that?
Explain this?
She's beautiful. Wait, bring her back. I want to kiss her.
Jennifer Lopez. Classic episode.
Oh, it really is. I love that episode. And then Connie says, hey, how about we practice on each other, step bro?
Yeah.
And they go to
Bobby
kiss.
says, you want to kiss me? And she says, no. Practice.
Obviously, just practice. They try, they bonk heads. Classic. And then they do a little bit of a smooch.
We get some soft, cute music too. It's a nice little scene. This was one where I was like, okay, this I can see where it's like an end of the season, planting seeds for next season.
It's a good setup. I don't know when the Bobby Connie thing really starts. I would assume season 2, and if so, this is an excellent setup for season 2. But yeah, they kiss. They have their first kiss.
Connie immediately asks if she has any hickeys.
Yeah. As if they just magically form after you kiss someone.
They're both wildly misinformed.
Line. That was cute. And then we finally get the party. The kids are all very quiet and timid ass little motherfuckers, and the bottle is spinning. Dale comes in and asks why it's so quiet in there.
What the heck, Dale?
Yeah. And doesn't want there to be any hanky panky. Nancy kind of walks in and is telling Dale to leave them alone. The bottle lands on Nancy, and Bobby seems to just fucking attack her.
Just lunges
and
at
that's
her,
how the episode ends. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why did the episode end like that?
That's your qualm?
Yes, that sucked.
Well, you mentioned at the top.
That sucked.
Yeah, the ending.
Why did they do that?
Yeah.
Bobby's just like, rah!
I think it would have been a lot better if they would have shown a scene of Nancy slapping Bobby. Like if Bobby does like go towards her with a kissy face, if she's just immediately like, psh.
It seems like it was like, oh, Bobby, like it landed on her. I just want to get this over with. Let me run over and.
That was what I got.
But
from it.
It
like,
played off so strange and just ended so abruptly. Like the whole episode's leading up to this party, and then we're at the party, and within a few seconds, the episode's over.
Yeah. Like it might have even been funnier if like the bottle landed on somebody else, or it like, you know, something while they were talking and Bobby like moves it to go to somebody else or something like that. Like there could have been a little bit
like
more
landed on Dale.
Yeah.
And then Bobby and Dale kissed.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's the end of the episode. No post credits in this one.
No post credits.
Should we just get into our final segments
We
here, brother? Should we crack open a brewski? This is the alley. We're stepping out back. We're talking about the episode, and we are each plopping down a 6-pack of Alamo beer. How many beers are you taking out for this episode?
So at first watch, I was almost ready to call this episode a 1 or a 2 after first watch.
Light night.
I think I'm definitely going to put it at a solid 3. It's a middle.
Okay.
It's a middle episode for me.
Middle of the road.
I think it's the ending that brings it down for me.
The ending really that knocks off at least 1 point for me.
Yeah. I think it's maybe the placement of the episode at the end of the season. Like I feel like the last episode with Hank's lawn getting absolutely destroyed like would have been a better place to leave the season.
I don't know, because this one kind of sets up Bobby Connie. And we do get a lot more of like Bobby and Joseph later on, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it has, there's like an argument for this being the season finale, but I agree. I don't know if it was like the best choice to end the season.
Yeah. So it's a 3. It's a 3 for me.
Solid 3. I think I'm going to be slightly more generous with this one just because I thought that the story, like the B plot, tied in really well with the A plot. Yeah. Like the resolution of Luann having her final exam. Like I thought that was the more compelling focus of the episode, but it was definitely more of the B plot.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that tied in directly to Bobby and Hank and like the party and the overarching like theme of the episode was kind of clever, and it was a Luann heavy episode, so it's hard for me to give it less than a 3. So I think I'm gonna go 4. I think I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it a solid 4. But definitely knocking off points for that ending. That was definitely the worst ending of any episode
so far this season, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, that leaves us with one last thing.
God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, 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 dang it, Bobby, 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 dang it, Bobby.
Hill King segment. This is the segment of the show where we crown the king of the hill of the episode. It could be just which character stood out the most to you. Could be which character had the best jokes. Could be which character had the best outfit change. Completely on the spot, completely in the moment. Who you got? Who's your Hill King? Who stands supreme in this episode?
I think there's a real clear 1 and 2. There's a real clear top 2.
Well, there can only be one.
I know. I think there's some real clear top 2 choices for this one, and I think I'm actually going to pick a third. You know me, always got to subvert expectations on the Hill King. I think I'm actually going to pick Connie. Yes.
Wow.
She's barely in it, She hardly says anything funny, but she is the she's kind of the level set for Bobby that kind of like snaps him out of it and is like, oh, this is like it not as hard as it has to be type of thing. And I think my pick for her as the Hill King is maybe a little bit more about like what I know is coming in the future with their relationship and with her character.
It's a future context.
It's like Bobby has got this inanimate object that he's attached to and he can't see.
He doesn't realize what's right in front of him. Yeah. What's in front of that's beautiful, man.
Mm-hmm. So I think I'm picking Connie. She's she's only got like 3 lines, but I think I'm picking Connie.
Okay, I can respect that.
Mm-hmm. I think I know who you're picking.
This is our first Connie pick. Congrats to Connie. Kind of late to the game for this one because we're at the end of the season, so you're not going to be crowned Hill King of the season.
The Super Newsompones are only in half the season.
Yeah, that is true. They were kind of at a disadvantage a little bit. But for me, glad you asked. I just have one question for you, Chris.
Is your heart racing? Are you upset?
I knew it.
You know it's got to be my girl.
I knew it. I knew you were picking Luann.
It's who else could it be? Bobby was close. Again, I feel like this is it's
I think Bobby
usually
was
either Bobby or
choice.
Luann. Was Luann up there for you too?
Luann was up there for I think realistically driving the episodes it's Bobby and Luann. Connie was the heart pick, but the Bobby and Luann did the heavy lifting this episode for sure.
Luann had some solid one-liners, some solid vocal work by Brittany Murphy. It kind of drove the whole story. I love it when we get a like scream and a cry from Luann.
It's also a nice season recap for her character because kind of all season she's got this beauty school thing going on, and how she's struggling with it. So it's a nice cap off for her.
I'm excited to see what's to come for my girl in the future, and I'm excited that she's my Hill King yet again on the season.
Yeah, you love Luann.
I do. That I believe will do it for the Hill King segment.
Hell yeah.
And that'll do it for this episode. That'll do it for this season, man. We did it. Whole season. Good for us. Dude. We did the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, dude.
Start to finish.
Thanks for being here, uncles. We appreciate you.
Appreciate all of you. You know what to do. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and like, subscribe, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. We're still low on comments.
Attracted to.
Yeah, we're still growing. If you want to share this with a friend, that would be great. For all of our audio listeners, of which there are for some reason more of, we're over here on YouTube too.
Hello.
You can see our faces. I do a ton of editing on the Bish. I add in little photos that pop up and screenshots from the episodes so that you can kind of get some visual context when we're talking about Luann wearing a pink shirt, or whenever we talk about Hank's feet. You'll see it on the screen.
Peggy's feet.
Or Hank's. It doesn't matter. We talk about feet a lot on this show. And we're going to talk about feet a lot more in season 2. And we're also probably going to talk about feet next week because we're going to do a season recap. And we're going to go through all of the Hill Kings for the entire season. And we're going to see who the Hill King of the season was. And if we agree, we'll have some other goofs and gaffs in there. We'll maybe play a little game, and we'll talk about season 2, and we'll get ready for it.
Other little trivia tidbits, we'll talk about your guest stars. We'll talk about your notable director writer features. So check out the season recap, and then come check us out for season 2. I'm excited to get into season 2.
Yep, lots more to come. It's double the amount of episodes in season 2. So. And then we've got 11 more seasons after that. So we're not going anywhere. We'll be here.
Brad committed to all seasons.
Well, we're not going anywhere until we decide to stop. But You can find us on the social medias at hillkingspod. We'd love to hear from you there as well.
Send us memes.
Yeah, we love a good meme. Share it with your friends and shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it from me. Anything else to say to the people, Crisp?
No, I got absolutely nothing.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here then.
Hell yeah, dude.
Let's get the fuck out of here,
Hill Kings Podcast.
Spilled water all over myself.
Nice.
Hey.